That was Pandit Nikhil Banerjee playing the rag Nat Bhairav on the sitar. He was accompanied by Anindo Chatterjee on the tabla. Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, as you know, is one of the most famous exponents of the sitar, an instrument which has gained so much popularity all over the world. Let's go and talk to him about himself and his instrument. Panditji, I always wanted to know how you came to be a musician and how you came to be playing the sitar. Was it in your family?
Yes, it was in my family. My father was a great sitar player in his time. And from my childhood, I was listening his practice all the time. And gradually, I was very attracted to sitar. And then I started.
You have a very beautiful instrument here. Can you tell us something about the development of the sitar as an instrument?
Actually, the origin of sitar comes from the Veena family, the string instruments, which is considered as one of the oldest string instruments in India. So all the string instruments of India actually originally derived from this Veena. So there are about 52 types of Veena, and sitar has come from one of that Veenas called Chitra Veena.
I see.
So from, of course, gradually it has been developed and through evolution.
So it hasn't always had sympathetic strings then? Is that a recent addition to the
It
instrument?
is recent addition. Actually, it may be called maybe about 100 years.
Yes. One of the things that always fascinates me about the instrument, that it has a long neck with a long string, so that you can bend the string. Can you tell us something about the significance of this possibility to bend the string on the instrument? And could you demonstrate a little bit for us?
Yes, that's the, you can say, it's a specialty of this sitar. Just by pulling the string, sometimes we get full one octave. So I will demonstrate such as, like Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Si.
And that's all pulled from one fret.
Just from one fret.
Can you just make it one slide instead of staccato? Could you play that again, please? So would you call this similar to singing?
Yes, actually we follow the style of singing. So in that respect, we just by pulling the note,
Yes.
we get all other notes from one.
Because people
particular
talk
note.
about the instrumental style of playing, the sitar, and the gayaki, or the vocal style of playing. Where do you fall in between these two styles?
Actually, sometimes the people, they mistake about this word gaiki. Gaiki, actual word meaning, Nike and gaiki. Nike means compositions. Gaiki means style of exposition. So Nike and gaiki, these are the two things which are combined. And all these things, what we play on this instrument or any other Indian instruments, actually it has come from the vocal music.
It is all basically derived from
Basically
singing.
derived from the vocal music.
Does it require a lot of practice to pull the right amount on the string?
Oh, terrible amount of practice
How many
required.
hours do you do a day?
Like any other instrument, any music, it's a full-time job. And, suppose in our case, when we are in our teacher's house or guru's house, we used to practice about 10 to 12 hours a day.
10 to 12 hours per day.
hours per day. That means, you know, you just practice and you forget the whole world.
Yes.
Sometime, you know, our teacher, especially I am talking about my teacher, he was so strong and man of very strict discipline. So naturally, he will force us to practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we didn't feel like practicing, he will come and say, until unless you practice,
Yes.
the food will not be served.
I see. Did you practice with the tabla at all?
No.
Or just on your own?
Actually, you know, the first when you start practice, you practice different scales and different permutation and combination of notes.
But how did you learn tal and rhythm cycles? How did you learn about playing with tabla?
That is, of course, very, very important. You will have to practice with tabla. But, you know, when you start practicing in the morning, then you just practice scales,
Yes.
different scales and permutation and combination. But then once a day or, you know, twice a day, you must practice with tabla
Yeah.
for
How
rhythmic.
do you and Anindo get together when he's playing the tabla? What is he doing in relation to your music?
Actually, system is that when I play fixed composition, or we call it gut,
Yes.
then he will just improvise on particular rhythmic pattern. You know, we have
Yeah.
got. I will just request Mr. Chatterjee to show you something,
Yes, please.
such as we have got many different tala system. It's also a different kingdom. Suppose a 7 beats rhythmic cycle of tala or 10 beats of rhythmic cycle of tala. But in 10 beats there are maybe 3-4 different type of tala. The division will be different.
So each cycle is divided into
Each cycle
groups.
is divided by different divisions. I will show you. Suppose, let us start with a 14-beat tal called dhamar.
Okay.
The division is 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Ka, de, dha, ge, di, ne, ta. This is one thing, you know, after playing the tal, I mean the theka, we call it theka, you know,
Yes.
the fixed composition.
I
then you
noticed
improvise.
that you were reciting some syllables. What are these sounds?
This is the language of tabla.
Can you
know.
explain a little bit more about that, please?
Like, you know, first he will show you something about on his right hand drum, or that is called tabla,
Yes.
like te, ta, na, ding, like that.
So each sound has got a syllable
Yes.
in language.
And also there are languages or, you know, the bowls from left hand side, like ka, ghe.
Can I ask Anindo to recite, not to play, but just to recite some bowl?
Yes,
Could you?
that will be fine.
Yes, I'm just reciting one Chakradhar
Yes.
in Tintal.
Chakradhar means, you know, one piece, big piece, will be repeated thrice and will come back on song.
Right.
Come on, let's go.
Din din na na, din din na na, tin tin na, tak din din na, dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, tak dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kat dhadir kat takda takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kritik takda, dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda, kat dhadir kritik dhadir kritik dhadir kritik takda.
That's fantastic. Would you just play that for us so that we know what it sounds like on the tabla? Panditji, this obviously involves a whole lifetime study. But for young musicians in Britain who want to study Indian music, what advice would you give them? I mean, I'd like to bring in Seema here, who is a very talented young student, and perhaps you could give her some tips at the same time when she plays for us.
You know, there is no shortcut or there is no other way that you can make it short, because it's a lifetime's job. Full dedication is required and practice is the word. Whatever talent or genius you are, it is 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration, you know. So practice is the word.
But isn't it the other way around now for you?
No, I don't think so, because you know, without practice you cannot go one further step. So practice is the word. Of course, that you can learn from your guru, what to practice and how to practice. That's the purely technical things. But practice, there is no other way. More you practice, more you become very, really
Well, what sort
strong.
of advice would you, or tips would you give to Seema, one of your students?
Seema, first you show us one of the scale, although it's an evening scale,
This is in the Rag Yaman.
Rag Yaman, but before you start a raga, you must practice the scale. So you first play the scale of this. In this scale, only the fourth note is the sharp note.
Yes.
La 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 la, instead of this na, it's a na, the sharp note, that's all. This is, the name of the scale is Kalyan, and in this Kalyan thought or scale, name of the raga is Iman. You know, each scale there are many, many ragas. So, Seema, you play us some compositions on this rag Iman.
For practicing.
Play some gat. Play some tan. Again, different one. Any big tan. Play that one, Gale Sari. Gale da ni da pa ma pa da ni da pa ma pa re ga re da ni re sa. Gale da ni da pa. Start from na tin tin na. Gale da ni da pa ma pa da ni da pa ma pa re ga re da ni re sa sa ga re sa. Ma pa re ga re da ni re sa sa ga re da pa ma da re sa sa ni re ga pa pa sa ni re ga pa pa sa ni re ga pa pa. Yes, that's the word. But you know, you should practice more. It's not coming very clearly.
May I ask, what exactly was she doing? What have you taught her there? You mentioned the word gat and then tan. What was happening?
But you know, it's a very big subject. You know, I can talk. I can.
We have 1.5
within
minutes.
Few minutes. But the thing is that many people they just mistake this thing that Indian music also improvisation and jazz music also improvisation. But Indian music is improvised under very, very strict rule and discipline. Suppose you play a fixed composition or gut, on that you are improvising is correct. But you know how you will improvise, that's the point. So first you start with a short tan. You know, suppose
A tan is just a fast run.
just a first run, but you know there some discipline, you know, that system you have to follow very strictly.
Yes.
Suppose this what she has played just now, the composition is based on 16 beats or teen tal.
Yes.
So you first, you know, after playing the gut, you play only the 8 beats tan start, different type, different combination and permutation in a short space. Then gradually, you know, make it longer space. First, you know, take like half octave, then you take full 1 octave, then gradually you go towards 2 full octaves,
I see.
like that.
And that is alternated with the gut or the composition
Oh,
with the tan.
Each time, you know, you play tan, then you have to come back to gut
I
or
see.
on the first beat or som.
Yes. Thank you very much, Panditji. May I ask you now to play us some more music? What rag will you play?
I think I will play Raga Bhairavi,
Yes.
it's morning rag, and the composition will be on 6 beats or dadra.
Thank you.